So welcome to another episode. We are not 140 characters. We're a mere 2 characters here. It's John Arnold and Carl Ford here at IT Expo, 4GWE, and Smart Grid, but we're going to talk Smart Grid today. So John, give us a recap. What's been happening in the last 2 days?
Well, we're getting what we got. You know, we expected a pretty good crowd. We got probably about 150-ish in the room, and that's kind of what we hoped for. We're building on what we did last time. You know, the last show in Miami was 1 track, 1 room, too small, standing room all the whole time, so we knew we needed a bigger room. So we upsized about right. So we've got 2 tracks. I think that's the important story for our event now. We've got 2 tracks running, infrastructure and consumer, more like smart home innovation stuff. And we got people running up to both tracks, attending all the sessions, which is great. Really good mix of people. We've got utilities coming, and we've got the telcos and vendors, and a group of people who I don't really know where they're from, but I just know they're here for first time, but that tells you there's a lot of interest. I had some people come up, talk to me from like Austria, Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
I never, you talk, why are they here, right? But they're here to learn, and they really are interested in what we're doing.
You had some Asians too, as I recall, on the registration.
Oh, quite a few. And again, I don't know where they're from. I haven't talked to very many. Some have come up and asked me questions. I don't know if they're carriers. Some might be utilities. But anyways, they're asking good questions, and people are staying for the sessions. So the variety, I think, is what's keeping it interesting. You know, we've got the kind of speakers you'd expect to see from this space, but I've also brought in guys who you wouldn't expect to see. So we had, for example, yesterday we had Nuance talking about how they're using speech rec to help the contact centers in the utilities cope with all the volumes of people who have dumb questions, who don't know anything about what's this meter on my wall doing, how do I turn it on? So that's a new problem for the utilities to face. So it's great to see companies like that speaking. We had Frog Design with a presentation about design elements in the smart home. Again, stuff they haven't really thought about too much in the utility world, but are going to have to. And to me, that's the biggest story for this, is really showing them that there's a lot they have to learn, and there's a lot they can learn from the telecom world and us in the communication space. So
cool.
We've got them all together under one roof. That's the main.
And just out of curiosity, you want to talk about the WiMAX BOF discussion at all? What happened there with the WiMAX BOF talking about the WiMAX forum talking about Smart Grid? And
well, you know what? I didn't attend it because I didn't see it.
Okay, I attended it, so I'll give you my part of it.
You answered it for me. How's that?
Okay, that sounds good. So what they were very interested in is a lot of the discussion on Smart Grid comes down to exactly how much pipe do you need for the transmission of the data, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the WiMAX folks feel that they represent a great opportunity because they represent a low-cost solution that basically can scale to include what they're going to see as more and more applications, as more and more smart home activities come on. They feel that the utilities could take advantage of them. And the big question we have is, would the PUC see that as well? So we were discussing how to make it so that the utilities actually could talk to the state's commissions and make it so that they were taking advantage of WiMAX, because in the long term, that's the right solution.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. And, what I find so interesting about this market is how fragmented it is. It's not just the technologies, but state by state, every state has a different reality, different regulatory regime, this kind of stuff. So it's a very interesting challenge. It's not like we can have like one carrier serves everybody. Every market's going to have its own little quirks. And this is just U.S., the Canadian market is different in terms of how they handle wireless and the spectrum stuff. So it's a different environment. But here, there's plenty to talk about. And, tomorrow we'll have more of the same with our keynotes and sessions. And it's going to be a pretty good event. So if you haven't come out, please do. And, of course, I'm going to drop in on yours as well. And
Yep. Agreed. So great. Good job. Thank you.
Okay.